Hi everyone, this is Joe from Healing Math Trauma, and I'm going to talk today about how to multiply fractions and why it's not just some sort of arbitrary rule that you multiply the numerator and then multiply the denominator, but it actually makes a whole lot of sense. And the way we're going to make sense of this is by making a connection between multiplication and area.
To see how area can be a really powerful tool to help us understand fraction multiplication, let's look at the example of 2/3 times 5/8. Whenever we have a multiplication problem, we can relate it to area because the way you find the area of a rectangle is by multiplying the two side lengths. So let's say that I have this rectangle here, and let's say that each is a side length of 1. I'm going to take the first side here and divide it into thirds, and then I'm going to take the next side and divide it into eighths. So if I look at this right here, this is 2/3 of the first side length. And if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this right here is 5/8 of the other side length. And so if I think about the entire square has and pretend it's a square because I said each side length was 1, even though I know it's not quite drawn perfectly. But if I pretend this entire thing is a 1 by 1 square, then the total area is 1 times 1, which is 1. But if I'm concerned about what is the area of this portion right here, that would be whatever the answer is to 2/3 times 5/8. This part right here would give me, that area would give me the same answer as that multiplication problem. Well, when I think about what fraction of the total area is shaded in right here, I can see that there's a total of 2 times 5 squares shaded, right? So it's 2 times 5 squares were shaded out of a total of 3 times 8 squares. So the reason that 2/3 times 5/8 is 10/24 is that 10/24ths of this total square are what we've shaded in here. That's the shaded area. And we got the 10 by having to multiply 2 times 5, and we got the 24 by having to multiply 3 times 8, because 2 squares by 5 squares to tell us how much of the area was shaded, that's the numerator, out of 3 squares by 8 squares to tell us the total number of squares that it was out of, which is the denominator, the 24.
Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. One thing to maybe think about if you're going to talk about this with your kids is what would happen if you had fractions like 7/3 times 5/8? Could you still use this area model to make sense of that?